Hi, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thanks for joining us today. We got a lot of new people coming in. I'm, as I said, immigration attorney John Khosravi. March 23rd is the day, 6 p.m. Pacific time. We're coming live to talk about U.S. immigration. Take your questions, as we do for Wednesday for the last 2 years, live on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, the main YouTube channel and the Clips channel. All these different ways you could connect. And ask your questions about U.S. immigration law. I'm here to take and just write them down. And we also give away free video consultations, free 15-minute video consultations, 3 a show. All you got to do is like and subscribe and write consultation. And my wonderful assistant, Katrina, will name someone off in 10 minutes, and then another one 10 minutes after that, and another one at the end of the show at the 30-minute mark to set up a time to talk in private, because what we're doing here is general kind of information. We can't go specific into your case. It's private stuff. There's way too much stuff I need to know and talk about before I give individual guidance. We're going to talk general about immigration updates and what's going on. So I appreciate any questions that you have. Throw it my way. We'll write down the names and we'll give the free consultations, but also just help you out to get a better understanding of what's going on. And one of the best ways to do that is to download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. This is primarily for people who are doing marriage and fiance cases. If they go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com, they can download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, a free 40-plus page guide that breaks down A to Z in the process. You'll learn a lot from it, but we're going to have more guides and stuff coming in. And even if you're not doing a marriage case, the overlap, the same things are involved in a marriage case: adjustment of status, consular processing, EADs, AP, all this kind of stuff, from I-485, I-864 if you're doing a non-spouse case, another family member. The information will help you have a better understanding of the immigration process. So definitely check that out at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And for this next quarter, April, May, June, we're going to have seminars weekly on the EB-1A Extraordinary Ability Program. If you want to get involved in that seminar, you want to hear what's going on, how to get a green card based on having extraordinary ability, we're going to open up Q&A, so you have some general questions there. It'll be a smaller group, private. There's a limit on how many people could be in the group. Just email us at info@jqqlaw.com, and we'll give you the information on how to join that seminar, info@jqqlaw.com. It won't be recorded. You won't get a video, so it's live only. So you really want to check it out and get into it. Having said that, well, let's get the show started. All right, so we got a lot of questions already jumping in. We'll get to that in 1 second. I just remembered the couple of stuff I want to say. If you're from Ukraine, and you're already in the United States from March 1st to March 3rd, there's the option for, TPS, temporary protected status. It's been announced, hasn't been fully implemented, but it's something to think about. India, if you're from Afghanistan as well, soon after they announced TPS for Ukrainians, they announced it for Afghan nationals as well. They updated the O1A playbook with the rules in it. We're going to talk about that more in the private seminar. Definitely check that out. If someone had a question about it, we can talk about it. But it's really interesting changes that are positive. But I see we have a lot of questions. Let's just jump into it. JOT asks, my spouse visa case is approved from last March 2020, but still waiting for the interview. What should I do? So be careful by saying approved. Your visa case has not been approved. It's only halfway done. It's not even close to being approved, because your visa case is approved when a visa is issued. So if you say a visa case is approved, it's not approved. You have to have the immigrant visa interview, and then after that, they approve it. And even if they approve it, until they enter the United States and a green card is issued and they pay the fee too, it's not there. And this becomes important because people we saw during Trump's time, the travel bans, they didn't allow them to do interviews. And those who did the interview, and even if their green card visa, the immigrant visa, was approved, they still couldn't enter the United States to get a green card. It's like that. So you have an I-130 petition approved. You've been documentarily qualified by the National Visa Center. That means the basics of your paperwork. It seems okay, but you need to do the interview. Unfortunately, there's long delays. Some countries faster than others, but many countries over a year delay, especially India, Pakistan, all these countries. We're seeing that March 22 is a pretty horrible timeline. You might want to talk with your congressperson and see what's going on. Contact the embassy, see if you've been lost in the loop somewhere there. But that's a horrible thing to have a wait that long, 2 years. Pretty bad. So try to get involved. Maybe talk to a lawyer about suing them. That's pretty extraordinary wait that you have to go through. Sorry about that, JOT. Najee asks, hello, sir. Thank you for your effort. You're welcome. Please, I want to know, is there any way to get citizenship through green card less than 5 years except the marriage way? Yeah, there is. I mean, if you're in the military, potentially they make it faster. If you get assigned to go on duty, there's mostly it's through marriage, different marriage ways, but there's military-related ways. There's one if you go and need to be transferred to live outside the United States for like a U.S. employer. There's a way to expedite that as well. But it depends on your case, and it has to be something special going on. But usually, it's the 5-year mark. And next question, Dacia says, "Hi, I want to ask if it's okay to stay like 10 months outside the United States with the green card because of studies." Well, is it okay? It's not up to me. It's going to be up to them with it. But technically, you don't want to be outside the United States for more than 6 months because when you're a green card holder, you're a lawful permanent resident. That means you're residing in the United States. And if you're outside for 10 months, that becomes a problem because you're not residing here. You're outside for 10 months. When you're outside for more than 6 months, if you try to come back in, they could question you and say, "Why are you outside?" Potentially even take your green card away if they want to. They don't typically do that. That is not my number one fear if you're outside for 10 months. What it is it's going to mess up your ability to get citizenship. It's going to reset the clock on getting citizenship because you've been outside for 6 months. So the safest thing to do, and another aspect is people say they're going to be outside 10 months, then something happens, and all of a sudden they're out 13 months. And at that point, you're outside for more than a year, which is really bad, both for keeping the green card and for getting citizenship. So first of all, you want to file for a re-entry permit, Form I-131. That's going to become very important for what you're doing. And try to break it up. Don't be outside the full 10 months. Be outside 4 months, come back into the United States, and then leave again. It could still be a problem for citizenship because when you apply for citizenship, they ask where you studied, and they see in the last 5 years your place you studied was outside the country. They could potentially deny your case, saying, well, you weren't residing continuously in the United States, even though you had multiple 3 or 4 month absences. You weren't really residing here continuously, and that could lead to a denial of the citizenship case. So you got to talk with the attorney private, plan it out. There's no guarantees it'll work, and a lot of it's going to be up to the officer that interviews you with USCIS for a citizenship case if it's going to be problematic. But those are the issues. One is keeping the green card. Probably is going to be not going to be an issue. It varies, depends on the officers, but chances are good it won't be an issue. Can't guarantee it. But for citizenship, it's going to definitely become an issue. You got to plan that out and see what's going on. But hey, thanks for your question. Howard says, my asylum case was passed in November 2017. I got my green card in April 2018. Can I apply for citizenship? So one note is when you get a green card based on being formally an asylee, the day you get your green card, it's going to be backdated by 1 year. So if you got your asylum case 2017, you got your green card in April 2018, they'll consider you a resident since April 2017, which means add 5 years to that, April 2022, subtract 90 days to that. Yeah, you could probably file right now. However, I can't say whether you can file because I don't know anything about you other than this one sentence that you gave me. So what you have to do is go to YouTube and type in JQK Law, citizenship timelines, and listen to all the basic timeline issues because you may have been asylee, but you live outside the United States for a certain period of time. That becomes problematic. You might have visited your home country. They might come back and say, hey, I thought you're afraid to go back to your home country. Why are you going to visit there? Why are you using the passport for the home country? That goes against the rules for asylum. Typically, they don't enforce these rules, but the rules are you're not really supposed to use the passport of the country you escape from. You're not supposed to visit there. A lot of people do it. They get away with it. They don't say anything. But the rules say you're not supposed to do that. Plus, you may have arrest history. I don't know about it. Just so much, and so I can't say whether you can apply for citizenship because I don't know you. But if you're specifically asking about the timelines, 1 out of 15 stuff that I have to think about, one of them, 5 years past, yeah, you'll satisfy that already. But I don't know about the rest. There's not enough information for me to be able to judge something like that. Well, thank you for your question. Maria Shanks says, I filed I-130 for my parent. Wonderful. Congrats. Hopefully it gets done fast. Facebook user asks, if my fiance has Greek travel document, does he qualify for US Visa Waiver? No. The US Visa Waiver is a program they created for certain countries so that you don't need to get a tourist visa to come to the United States. You go online, you fill out an application, and then you get, if it's approved, then you can come in for 90 days to the United States. For this, you have to be a citizen, have a passport of certain countries, and satisfy other requirements. So having a Greek travel document doesn't mean you're Greek. Now, Greek people, if you're a citizen of Greek, typically can use the Visa Waiver program if they're approved for it. But having a Greek travel document is not the same thing. Maybe there's some exception I don't know about. I don't want to say 100%, frankly, because I just haven't had that situation pop up. But generally, the Visa Waiver program is for those who have the passport of certain countries and satisfy other requirements. I don't think travel documents are included. However, thinking about it more, who knows? There might be some exception. It's not typical, but that's the best answer I got right now. Monable asks, can I travel on an active L1A visa during change of status process marriage phase? So this is an important question. So when you start the green card process in the United States, it's called adjustment of status. You're technically not supposed to leave the United States while a case is pending. So what happens is if you do leave, your case gets abandoned, you need to file for advance parole, form I-131, advance parole beforehand, have it approved. And once it's approved, then you could leave and travel the United States. There is exceptions to that, though. If you have an H-1B visa, you have an H-4 visa, you have an L-1A or L-2 visa, these visas do permit you to travel. It's valid. It's not voided or something like that. Typically, we don't want people to travel when the green card case is pending because you never know what the rules are going to change when you're outside. Look what happened during the pandemic. You would have been stuck outside, potentially, maybe not. But so in these kind of cases, we got to be careful. But more about let's schedule a private consultation. You're the winner of our free raffle. My assistant just told me right now. One about just take a screenshot of where you're watching this and email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com, and we'll schedule a private consultation to talk about this. But it's doable. L-1As are an exception to the requirement for having advanced parole, and it gives you the ability to travel while adjustment status case is pending. I don't know particularly your case. If it's I haven't seen your visa, I can't say that for sure, but that is one of the rules. For those just tuning in and hearing about this free consultation, this is just for people watching a live show. If they're watching live, they like and subscribe wherever they're watching it, and they write consultation. My wonderful assistant, Katrina, will name off a person in 10 minutes, another person in 20 minutes, and I'll name off as the winners of the consultation, and we'll jump into it. But also, before we go to the next question, please, if you're interested in a fiancé or marriage case, before you talk with a lawyer, do your homework, study, know what is going on in this process. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com and download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. It breaks down A to Z of what you need to do in the process before you talk with a lawyer. And that way you can judge, hey, this lawyer know what they're talking about, they don't. And you see if I know what I'm talking about. Now, the ebook does need to be updated. We don't have the public charge requirement there. I have to go in there and delete that. But it does a really good job of really breaking down. And dozens and dozens of people have messaged me saying they just used the book and it really helped them a lot. So God bless. Let's do the next question. Prab says, my husband applied for asylum green card in August 2020. How long will it take? Check USCIS.gov for processing times. Jordan says, do I still need divorce papers to apply for citizenship? Yes, when you apply for citizenship, they do ask for your marriage and divorce certificates, really divorce certificates, but you need to have those as part of the requirements. Shayla asks, my parents will be visiting the U.S. on B2 visas for 3 months. Can we file I-130 when they are here? They plan to do I-485 processing in their home country. So let's break it down. We'll back it up. You can't do I-485 processing in your home country. So I-485 processing adjustment of status is if you're staying here. But if they're going to go home, then they can do consular processing. Can you file the I-130 when you're here? You can file the I-130 before they come. You can do it after they come. Some people are afraid to file for the I-130 before they come because they're worried. I-130 is a request for the parents to get a green card because they're worried that the parents will, at the airport, they'll be hassling them saying, oh, you're really coming here to stay and apply for a green card, so they don't want to do that. I haven't necessarily seen that be a problem, but if you got a tourist visa, yeah, come hang out with you, then file it when you're here just to get jump started on, and they leave and wait home. As long as they don't show intent and stuff to stay here, it should be fine. But it's consular processing, not for I-485 if they're going to the home country embassy. Dodger says, can I change my citizenship interview date? Yeah, if you can't come, call USCIS and explain what happened, and it's possible to, it's up to them, it's the discretion, but it's possible to try to change it. Amir Razapur asks, hi, I have a question about marriage-based green cards. I heard there are some hardship for those who did military service under SEPA. Can you please elaborate what you can offer in this case? Well, I can't offer much. It's not up to me. It's up to the government. This is a unique situation for Iranian clients. Back in essentially January 2020, all of a sudden, the U.S. started denying any visa for an Iranian who had to go and do their military service in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, commonly known as the Revolutionary Guard Corps, or SEPA, in Iran. And so, essentially, if you're outside the United States and you want to get a visa, and you even have mandatory, military service with SEPA, even if you did 25 years ago, you were forced to do it, and you're a driver or a dishwasher there, they'll deny your visa. If you're in the United States, it hasn't affected adjustment of status or applying for citizenship. But if you're outside, you're screwed. That's just the way it is right now, unfortunately. So you got to wait, see what happens with negotiations between the two countries. And once that changes and we get news that's changed, then give it a shot. But right now, if someone came to me with this fact pattern, maybe I'll start the case. So if you're married, you're not going to get divorced. So you start the I-130 process, but once it goes to consular processing, you put things on hold until we see what happens with the political situation. That's the best solution I could come up with so far. I haven't heard of successes in the lawsuits or anything like that happening. Usually because it's a national security issue. If they sue, you can't win, but you always give it a shot. But in these kind of cases, as I said, we do the I-130 and wait for you to get to consular processing, then just pause the case, and we have no idea when it's going to change. It's a horrible dilemma for people and their partners. So sorry about that, Amir. Saad asks, hi, Attorney John. My I-130 case status says they're actively reviewing our marriage case. Do you know how long it will take for them to review it? What's the next step? There's no timelines on this. Check out uscis.gov for some incoherent timelines and not reliable timelines, but I don't want to just say. It could be a month, it could be a year, it could be 2 years, it could be much longer. So essentially, you're going to review the case. If there's something insufficient, they'll send a request for evidence in RFE saying we want more documents, and or they'll just schedule an interview and then do an interview, and we'll see what happens after that. That's about it. Mario Shank says, when is the right time to file I-485 for a parent after I-130 is filed online? There's no right time. It depends on your individual situation, what's appropriate for you. Asamashotra says, which state is good for get a marriage green card? Wherever you're living is where you got to get it. There's no good or bad state. Just wherever you're living is where you're living. I also ask how to get a VA license during pending I-918. That's a state issue. You got to contact the local Department of Motor Vehicles, whatever they call it in your state, and they can handle it there. But I don't have guidance on state licensing issues. Maria follows up about the address history. If there are interruptions of stay in a physical address due to out of town, should you declare that in the form because there's a start and end date? Well, it's just essentially where you're living. So the applications do ask, for example, in the I-130 or the I-485, or even consular processing, they ask where you live. Where do they live? Now, if I go on vacation for 3 months, am I living in a foreign country? No, I'm just traveling. So you got to see what the situation was. If they felt like they changed their physical address, they should mark where the new place was. But if their home is the same place, but they're on vacation, that's just vacation. That's not them changing addresses. Did y'all ask? I have a question. If I never get an appointment for interview with an immigration official, I don't know what that question is. Sorry. Yeah, we got to reword it. User 84 asks, which year is good for blood sister brother cases? Which year is going? Check out the visa bulletin. I think what you mean is how taking, how current is it? You got to check out the F4 preference category on the visa bulletin. You type in visa bulletin in YouTube and in Google, and it varies depending on which country the brother or sister was born in. So if you're in Mexico, Philippines, it's going to take much longer than a person who was born in Taiwan or Australia. So you can check that out there. Asoy says, my boyfriend wants to get married. Do you think the location state can affect the green card process? Yeah, it's going to affect it, but you got to live your life. There's a thing called forum shopping, which they don't want you to do is move just for the sake of a green card. If you're that wealthy to be able to move to a state just for green card processing, then you probably could ask this question with the attorney in private. But the reality is, just you got to do what you got to do. You got to live where you got to live. So there's no games with that kind of stuff. Parent is on B2. Thanks, Maria Shanks. This is getting too much into individual legal guidance. I can't advise you as to that. Please schedule a private consultation to discuss your case. User 84 asks, I applied for my brother in 2007, still waiting for final. Yeah, check out the visa bulletin, see what date timelines are for the country of birth for your brother. Carla Hernandez asks, what is the most effective way to get an I-130 expedited? I've done a lot of videos on this. Please go to YouTube and just check it out. But the reality is that, you call them and ask, and you have to have a good reason. That's about it. So have a good reason, have the paperwork ready, call USCIS and ask and see what happens, see what they say. So I do want to announce our winner of our free video consultation. It is Maria Shanks. Maria, you had a lot of questions. Well, to a certain extent, be able to answer some of them because I'm not handling the case. Unless I'm actually the attorney of record signing the forms or submitting, I'm limited as to how much individual guidance I get. But let's have a private consultation. We can talk better than we can here in this public forum and take it from there. Just take a screenshot of where you're watching this so I know it's you, your username, and email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com, and we can take it from there and get to know the situation better. But thank you for watching. And for those just tuning in about 9 minutes or so, we're going to give away one more free video consultation. So just like and subscribe wherever you're watching this, and write consultation then, and then about 10 minutes or so, 9 minutes, we'll name off one more winner. But let's go back to questions. And Bell says, can I travel international in L18? Oh, we already answered that question. It is possible, but I would need to view your paperwork. Princess asks, once you get your permit and travel documents, can you go out of the country or should you wait till you get your permanent residency? So this is a person applied for a green card, similar to the previous question that I briefly answered. And they have a case pending for a green card in the United States. They got travel permission. They're asking, should you leave or not leave? Could you leave? We have permission to leave. Are there risks involved? Yeah, nothing's guaranteed in life. You can get hassled. I don't know anything about your personal background, Princess, so I can't tell you whether it's risky or not, how risky it is. But there's always a hassle, so you got to judge whether it's worth it for you to travel. I would limit it to only emergency situations if some family members have an issue, it's a big financial issue, something like that. But a lot of people do travel on advance parole when they have a green card case pending, and most of them don't have problems. I don't know enough about your case, and at the end of the day, it's up to the port officer, the person at the airport, at the land border, wherever you're coming back into the country, what their determination is. I have no control over that. So it's a risk you have to take on. Judge whether it's worth it or not. Parano Andrew says, will it be hard for Russians with clean records and eligibility to apply for N400 citizenship because of the political tensions in the U.S. and Russian Federation? No, if you're in the United States, typically these political situations don't really affect you. At most, it causes a little bit extra delays. This is going to be a big problem for people who probably do consular processing, try to get visas to the United States, but not typically for those who are going to go to citizenship. And how I know this is we have a lot of Iranian clients, and we get their cases approved, and so it's not a big deal. But it's case by case. You have to see if they're really involved with like some sort of the Putin or something like that, some issue. Then that may be an issue. But typically, the typical Russian person is just living their lives. It's not something that should be problematic. But thank you for the question. It's something that comes up a lot in questions. AJ says the guide is amazing. Thank you, AJ. God bless. The guide he's talking about is the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com, breaking down the A to Z of the marriage immigration process, so you have an idea what's going on, the forms involved, and all that kind of stuff. Much appreciated for the thumbs up, AJ. If you had a chance, go to Google, type in JQK Law, and just put 5 stars in that Google review. Don't even write anything, just put 5 stars. It'll help out a lot. Much appreciated. Shaylee asks, if the I-485 is filed when parents are in a home country, can they travel to the U.S. on a tourist visa? So the I-485 is not filed when the parents are in home country, as I explained earlier. You have to do consular processing. That's a whole different thing. They can try coming on a tourist visa. Entry is up to the port officer. Most of it's fine, but you should really talk with the immigration in private to see what's going on with that, especially if you're putting I-485 for that. You're going to be wasting money for 2 parents. You're going to waste $2,500 by filing the wrong form. So please consult with an immigration for some guidance on that. Farouk asks, hi, I'm a green card holder. I applied for my spouse last December. Can my wife apply for visitor visa coming to the United States? Yeah, to give it a shot. They may or may not get it. Just make sure the paperwork is honest and covers everything. It's not up to me. It's up to the embassy officer whether they'll approve it or not. And at the airport, whether they'll let your wife in. So you really want to plan it out, talk to the lawyer in private to know the downsides and best ways to deal with it. Mohsen says, excuse me, I'm talking really fast and loud. My throat's giving away. Mohsen says, waiting for I-140 since May 2020. As sponsored tax return last year. Still only waiting. I'm not for sure exactly what you're asking, but the timelines it's bad, unfortunately. Yeah. Depending on your case, you can maybe do pre-em processing for some kinds of cases. Seper says, hi, John. Is there any way going from F1 visa straight to a green card? Yeah. If you have an employer who files for your green card while you're going to school, that's possible. You marry a green card holder or a citizen, get married. You potentially do a large investment. You could be a person of extraordinary ability. You could, so there's different ways to do it. I mean, it's hard. It's not an easy thing, but maybe possible. Haji asks, how can you bring your parents with green cards in the United States? Well, if you're a U.S. citizen, your parents with green card in the United States. So if you're a green card holder, you can't apply for your parents. You have to file, you have to be a U.S. citizen to apply for your parents. So you can't bring them yourself, unfortunately. That's about it. Mirshak says, according to the situation of Afghanistan, can I apply for my fiance while I'm a green card holder? No, fiance can't do fiance. You have to get married. Green card holders can't do fiance visas. And we don't have any pictures together. Well, it's not impossible, but it's not good that you don't have pictures together. 29 Super C, a regular. Hi, Attorney John Castro. I hope you're doing well. I scheduled to travel in early April. Thanks for everything. Well, God bless you, 29 Super C. Congrats on getting the visa and look forward to getting you in the United States and getting everything up and running. God bless. Simon says, hi, my husband is on OPT visa. It ends in June. I'm a green card holder and housewife. Do I need a joint sponsor? Joint sponsorship, you should have already applied for the case probably, but if it's the financial stuff, to be a joint sponsor, if you don't make enough yourself, you're not bringing income, yeah, you're going to need a joint sponsor. So far, Holmes says, is affidavit need to be notarized? Not necessarily. If you download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, I have a sample declaration there that is signed with the terminology as there. It satisfies the requirement for an affidavit. It doesn't need to be notarized. Having said that, having a notarization stamp is better than not having it, but I typically don't have my clients notarize paperwork. Amen asks, isn't all about embassy not giving interviews to F categories what to do? I mean, F they should be. Contact them, see if they will, but there's not much you can do, unfortunately. Maybe try going to another embassy and asking to do your visa interview there. Livid says, can I apply for TPS if I have a J1 visa from Ukraine? So if you're in the United States, on the cutoff date, you can apply for TPS. The visa category itself doesn't matter. So that's that. Stephen asks, I-751 has been waiting for an interview appointment. Any new news? No new news. Just, it's your case. It's a vigil. The news won't affect your case, but nothing particular. Shayla asks, how long is the wait for the embassy to approve the petition and send to the embassy? There's no fixed timelines for that. Cindy Love asks, my daughter's 20 years old, a citizen. Can she petition for me now instead of waiting for her becoming 21? Expired visa for so long. No, your child has to be 21, and a citizen is 21 can apply for the parent. But you as a parent also need to have had lawful entry the last time you came in. You said expired visiting visa. That's good. You could adjust status, but your child need to be 21. Plus, you need to make sure they make enough money, or you have a joint sponsor that makes enough money. Carl asks, my husband and I petitioner are living outside the U.S. Would me, the petitioner, moving back to U.S. make a stronger case? It does not about the case being stronger or weaker. Later on, when going through consular processing, there's a domicile requirement from I-864. If you're not living in the United States, they can hassle you about that. So you don't need to move right now, but eventually it's better to move or to be able to argue that you will move with your spouse. And how strict they're going to be about that depends on the embassy and the country that you're dealing with usually. Separative asks, being on an F1 doesn't need H-1B to get a green card? No. So if you're F1 student visa, typically people think you got to get an H-1B visa first, then you get the green card. You could jump that line. The problem is getting the green card is going to take over 2 years, and it's hard to maintain your whatever status you have for that long. So the H-1B allows you to be held over, plus it gives the opportunity for the employer to get to know you and make a decision whether they want to file for your green card. So no, you don't have to get H-1B. We have 2 more questions, and we'll call it a day. VJ follows up. My son got an I-94 stamp for H-4 status until his age 22. Same as my I-94. Can he stay as per the I-94 date? No, even though it's same about. So they made a mistake. Your son could only stay as an H-4 under your H-1B until they're 21. Afterwards, it's invalid. The officer at the airport should have made a cutoff date, but they weren't paying attention. So no, I-94 is incorrect, and it should be. He's only under your status till the age of 21 or 21. You're 21. And the last question is Princess follows up. They sent me another letter. I sent for I-485 is approved for residency. How long can we get a permanent residence? If they sent you a letter saying it was approved, that you're approved, you got it. So I would need to see what's going on, but it sounds like it's done. So having said that, Carla Hernandez, if you're still watching, you're our last winner of the last winner of our free video consultation. Take a screenshot for whatever app you're watching this. Send it to me at info@jqklaw.com so I know it's you. And we'll schedule a private video consultation and talk a little more in private about your situation. Thank you everyone for joining. If you are interested in learning about EB-1A, Extraordinary Ability Green Cards, top of the list green cards, one of the fastest. I'm going to have a website for you to register, but in the meantime, you can email me at info@jqklaw.com. I'll let you know when the registration website comes out. It'll be probably next Friday. The session we're going to go over in detail live seminar. So email me for that. But other than that, just see you next week, next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific. I'll try not to yell so much when I start the show, so at the end of it, I'm not choking like this. But thank you everyone for watching. God bless. Be safe.